If you don't stage a better client experience, you're probably going to lose your business. You're going to get commoditized out, and it's going to be painful. If you have an experience that is dialed in, that makes your clients feel special and seen and known like they belong, this is what happens. For starters, your clients will pay more for an experience than they will a service. They will pay more for the exact same product if they feel something from in the experience. Okay? They will forgive mistakes. They'll spend more money. They'll spend more time in your business. And most crucially for you, they will bring more people to you, word of mouth endorsements and new clients. It is the easiest, fastest, and best way to grow your business is when people reach out to you and say, "Hi, you don't know me. Dennis told me I should call." You want that to happen as many times a week as possible. Now, here's the challenge. Most people confuse service and experience. They think they're the same thing and they're not. You should be paying attention to my videos because I talk about this a lot. So what I'm going to share with you right now is a different way to think about this and a very important framework that will help you design a better experience. You ready? Here it is. My story today is about visiting the National Art Gallery of Canada. You can learn a lot about staging a great experience by observing and studying how a museum works. Let's begin with some basics. First and foremost, the difference between experience and service is this. Experience is about time well spent. We want you to stay for as long as you possibly can and enjoy every moment. Whereas service is about time saved. Hey, we want you to come in, get what you need, and get back out and back to your life as fast as possible. Unsaid is this understanding that we know you don't really want to be here. That's the service speaking, right? We know you don't really want to be here. You're just here for a head of lettuce, then you want to get home and make dinner. So we're going to make it as fast as possible, self-checkout and all that stuff. Experience, time well spent. Service is all about time saved. Time saved always leads to commoditization. Okay? Okay. The next thing to keep in mind is emotion. Experience makes you feel something first. Before the business outcome, the business asks, how do I want you to feel when you come in? So keep that in mind before we go too far into this. Time spent, not time saved, and emotion first. Now let's talk about museums. When you go to a museum, you pay just to get in. You pay admission. So the very first principle I want you to consider is this: admission worthy. From here on in, you are going to pretend, no matter what your business is, that anybody who walks in the door had to pay a cover charge, like a nightclub, like a museum. Just think about that. If somebody had to pay a ticket to get in, and you're a hardware store, what the hell would you have to do so that they didn't say, "This is ridiculous," and storm away and never darken your door again? How about, well, they'd have to walk in and feel special. Yes, somebody would have to greet them, say hello to them, and take a moment to say, "I'm so glad you're here." I know of a business in Dallas, Texas called La La Land Cafe, Kindness Cafe. I've met the owner, he's amazing. One of the very first things they do with every single person they interact with is they pay them a compliment. "Hey, good morning, thanks for coming in. That's a really nice sweater." You can do the same thing. You want a person to come in and have an emotional reaction the moment they darken your door. You want them to stand a little taller. "Thank you." It's almost like a little $5 pick-me-up, okay? I'm going to move on here. But that's the first one, is you need to be admission worthy. Now let's go back to the museum. Let's talk about, we're going to start here, aesthetic. In most museums, if they emptied them and took all the exhibits out and all of the museum pieces, the building itself would be impressive, wouldn't it? So let's take that as aesthetic. You should be asking yourself this question, okay? How can I stage my environment to be more interesting, more relaxing, more comfortable, more of a space that would encourage a person to linger? And I'll point out that your business has many different places in it. You might be a professional services office. So you have a lobby and a reception area. You have hallways and corridors. And of course, you have your individual office. These are all places to ask that question. I'm just thinking about the visit I took to the National Art Gallery here in Ottawa. Every single time I walk in, I buy a ticket, and it's an impressive building, and I walk up this ramp, and not once have I not been amazed by the building, and not once have I thought, God, I'd love to go to a party here, or a wedding, or some like big, fancy black tie event. It is just such an incredible building. You have to do that with your space. I don't care how humble it is. I happen to have a basement office 10 minutes from my house, okay? But it's still a pretty inspiring space. Here's the next question. You're in the museum. You've been to one? Okay. Was the building impressive? Yes. You got to make yours impressive. Question 2. Did you learn something when you were in the museum? Well, of course you did. Okay. Do people learn anything when they come to your business? Well, they come in and they get their problem solved. They learn what their problem is. That's not what I'm talking about. What else do you teach them? Is there an opportunity on your client's visit to teach them something that they'll say, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. What's hanging on the walls? What can you teach them that's related to the service that you deliver that might lead to consequence? If you're a financial advisor, you might have amazing stats all over the wall on stock market-y things that people would find interesting, trivia and stuff like that. Or maybe maybe you're a clothing store, and when people are there displayed on screens, you're playing like videos that show people how to coordinate outfits and dress for certain body types. I don't know. But education is something for you to keep in mind. So ask yourself this. What do I want people to learn when they're here in my business? If you're a hardware store, a barbershop, a restaurant, a car dealer. What are you doing, Dennis? I'm naming you the businesses that I'm looking at out of my windscreen here. Okay, go back to the museum. Is the museum fun? Is it entertaining? Yeah, it is. It is entertaining. So ask yourself this question. Is a visit to your business fun? Over the holidays, I also went to my ski shop. Every time I go there, I think, I can't believe they don't have a keg here. It's downhill skiing. I can't believe I don't walk in to like the church of the activity I love the most, downhill skiing, and somebody doesn't pour me a draft and we can celebrate and tell some stories. I can't believe they don't have Warren Miller movies being played on a big screen somewhere. Instead, I just go in, it's a store full of stuff. I mean, I love them and I love the people, but if they wanted to shift from service to experience, that's what they do. So question 2 is entertainment. How can you make a visit to your business more fun? Think museum, that's what they do. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is escapism. That's the last little question I'm going to ask you, which is there an opportunity to do something with your client in that space that you wouldn't normally do? So I'm thinking about a museum. It's very escapist. At one point you have to ask yourself like, wow, can you imagine what it would have been like to live in this time? You're standing in this staged environment. It might depict a pioneer village, let's say, from a long time ago. And you might have a thought of just thinking, oh my goodness, it would have been so, from my perspective, hard to live then. Oh my goodness. There's escapist in there. What about you? This thought that's coming to mind is the menswear store that I shop at, which is E.R. Fisher here in Ottawa. They're over 100 years old. I love them. Every time in the holidays when I'm there or on weekends after a certain hour when you're in, there's somebody that walks around with like drinks. Okay. And I talked to the owner. I don't think I'm giving any secrets away, but she was saying to me, I have so many interesting clients. I think she was trying to tell me I'm interesting, I hope. But, she said, I got a lot of interesting clients, like yourself and professional people. And sometimes she said, I just think about how powerful it would be to bring people together in the store after hours and host these little sort of infrequent sort of like TED Talks, which I encouraged her to do. I was like, what a brilliant idea. That's exactly what you should do. And it would be totally escapist, right? And educational. It would be eduscapist. I'm here in a menswear store where I normally am buying suits, but tonight I'm sort of drinking some wine and listening to a smart guy. Okay, go back to the museum example. Your business needs to be admission worthy. Check. So when people walk in the door, I'm giving them something immediately, some kind of special attention, a special greeting, an over-the-top greeting, a beverage I know they like. I'm like the La La Land Kindness Cafe. I'm making sure that I say something on purpose. What a beautiful jacket you're wearing. I'm so happy you're here. Something, anything. You have beautiful eyes, whatever it is. Might want to watch that one. Boom. Next is emotion. I want them to feel something. Okay, lovely. Next is I want to teach them something. I want to teach them something. Something perhaps related to my professional service, or maybe it's just something that's really important to me that I want to share. Maybe it's what I think about time and how important time is, and how important time you have to be aware of it, because it's always slipping through your fingers and you don't want to run out. You want to live a rich, robust, and fulfilling life, okay? Then I think about entertainment, just like a museum. How can I make a visit to my office more fun? How could I gamify this somehow? What could I do that would make a person want to linger and stick around? Then I go to aesthetic. If it's a museum and you gutted the thing and there was nothing to look at but the building itself, the building itself would be beautiful. Your office has to be the same. Your office has to be interesting. Here's a thought. What if your office hinted subtly and sometimes overtly at the education, at the education that you wish to share and teach? What's decorating the walls, what's on the screens, things that people would want to take a photograph of. Wow, that's really powerful. I want to bring this home. I want to capture this idea. And the last one is aesthetic, or pardon me, not aesthetic, escapist. How can you surprise them in your environment? By turning your environment into something else, something unexpected and interesting. At the end of the day, if you want to stage a better experience, you have to be admission worthy. You have to be time worthy. And you do that by paying attention to the 4 realms of experience I just shared with you that I learned from the godfather of the experience economy, Joe Pine. When I read his book, The Experience Economy, and then I became a certified experience economy nerd. Joe calls us experts. He thinks we're nerds though, and he means it with love. And the last is photo worthy. An experience in your store, your clients have to feel compelled to capture a moment and take it with them. If they're doing that, you're off to the races. Okay, that's one essential framework. I'm going to share more frameworks with you in my videos. Before then, look at this one.